Well, making financial decisions can be tough sometimes. Sure glad scoreboard-wise I went to the game back in November.
How much were those tickets again to your buddy's birthday back in November?
Enough.
Then again, you could have seen Luke Evangelista score his first 2 career NHL goals last night, or stayed with the fact that you saw a 3-0 comeback back in November, so I guess shootouts really are a coin flip.
Preds tie the Vancouver Canucks 3-3, and then after the gimmick, Preds lose 1-0 to the Vancouver Canucks Monday night inside Rogers Arena in Vancouver, British Columbia. Classic trap game. I kind of thought that this might have happened on Saturday. Something in my psyche was telling me it was going to, but nope. It was tonight against a team that I have to live through seeing every single day on sports radio, even though I am not a fan. Yep, Preds were lucky to get a point out of this one thanks to a kid who finally broke through. I guess the Preds were due for a defeat like this, considering the other 2 games against the Canucks were shootouts as well, so we all know that they are a gimmick and they are essentially a coin flip. I am going to keep this Preds fan reaction brief, not going to delve into too many details, as after all, it was a loss. I live on the West Coast, just like you guys. It was a late game for me too, in a ways, and I've got a busy Tuesday ahead of me. But this loss was not rant-worthy. We know what this team is. It's playing out the string. Maybe they'll pull a miracle. After all, Winnipeg doesn't look to be riding the ship. If the Preds make the playoffs, it'll be because they take them out. The Preds are full of injuries right now. Forsberg is out. Johansson's out. Oh, he could have been handy in the shootout tonight, huh? Wouldn't have minded having Slow Joe Ride Joe in the shootout. Carrier is out. Parsonen is out. So, and of course, how can I forget? Tomasino got hurt on Chicago on Saturday, and he is out. So obviously, men going down, eventually, maybe it will catch up with you. And Vancouver's not that bad of a team. I know they would wish, their friends of mine would wish they would be worse so they could get a good chance at Connor Bedard. They're not in the bottom 5. They're not that bad. They're playing decently under coach Rick Tocchet since he took over as coach. So, yeah, I can't be too disappointed, I guess, even though the Preds did outplay the Canucks for quite a bit of regulation, even though they fell down 3-1 early in the third period. But good on the Preds for coming back. And, of course, he was finally due, a guy who almost scored against Pittsburgh, almost scored in Florida. He almost scored in Chicago. Well, finally, he broke through big time, and I thought he was going to get a hat trick or maybe tie and get a shootout goal. Luke Evangelista finally, not 1, but 2, his first 2 NHL goals, tied this game back up at 3 late. Yeah, I guess it would have been nice to have seen that in person, but boy, that kid has a lot of spunk. I can't see that kid going down to Milwaukee anytime soon, and he'll probably make the roster, should at least make the roster next year out of training camp. I guess this game really started to turn late in the third period, despite the Preds being able to tie, because in overtime, they absolutely had nothing. I kept thinking that with all the Canucks' possession in overtime, they outshot the Preds 4-0, that they were finally going to cap it with a walk-off win. But it went to the shootout, and then in a gimmick, once Kuzmenko for the Canucks and Duchesne for the Preds, and then JT Miller for the Canucks, and then, like I said, Luke Evangelista for the Preds, all couldn't score in the third round. Elias Pettersson went, and I thought he was going to go with his go-to move to try and beat Saros. Maybe Saros thought it was coming too, and pull the Peter Forsberg backhand tuck-in goal, but no, he waited for Saros' 5-hole to open up, and he potted it, leaving it up to Tommy Novak. I guess I can't blame Hines for choosing Novak in that spot, considering all the injuries on this team. Maybe you guys can suggest to me who should have been used by that point in the third round in the shootout, and the Preds would lose the game 4-3. Like I said, this loss is not rant-worthy. This team is within striking distance of a playoff spot, but don't get your hopes up just in case they fall short and Winnipeg figures it out. I do want to give a big shout out to Michael McCarron for returning to the Preds lineup after completing his time in the NHLPA's Player Assistance Program. Props to him for getting the help that he asked for. 4 out of the next 5 games for the Preds are very winnable before the test really gets grilled into them. The Preds are at Arizona on Thursday. They go into LA Saturday night against the Kings, so that won't be easy. But then on the very next night, back-to-back, a game that I would expect Lankinen to play, who is a very reliable backup, and props to him again for his contract extension. They'll go into Anaheim on Sunday. Then next week at home, they'll face Detroit and then Chicago. Again, 2 very winnable games. Then the intensity gets really ratcheted up when they play playoff teams after that. But after those 4 out of 5 winnable games, we'll see where the Preds are in relation to the standings to go from there. Psyche-wise, to see once and for all, is this team still having a chance to make the playoffs? So that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. As always, click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really like it. You can find my social media by clicking on the channel name. Tell all your friends about Redemption as we edge ever closer to 300 subscribers on this channel. And gimmick loss or not, I just want to leave you with one positive to leave on before Thursday's game at Arizona. Luke Evangelista is a Pred.